Hello, YouTubers. Well, it's about a week out from the election now, and so we're here again, bringing you more video information that you might need to make your decision for that Tuesday. Let's talk about what's been going on for the past couple of weeks. First, I was approached to do an interview with a national media outlet, a media outlet that bills itself as pro-liberty, but has recently switched over and endorsed Mitt Romney. Of course, they didn't want the interview because they don't want to talk about what the GOP did during the nomination, or shall I say, coronation of Mitt Romney. They don't want to talk about vote fraud. They don't want to talk about election fraud. They don't want to talk about false media reports. They basically don't want to talk about all the things that the GOP has been pushing during the Obama administration. Voter fraud, government corruption, fake media outlets, those kind of things. Because the GOP is knee-deep, neck-deep in doing it themselves. I have a quote here I'd like to remind you all of from last year, back when we were doing the primaries, and I told you before Mitt Romney ever entered the race that the nominee would be Mitt Romney, and he would go up against Barack Obama, and he would lose by 8 to 10% of the vote. A year ago. You don't have to agree with Barack Obama on every particular, or on much at all, to admit that the spectacle of the Republican field is a reflection of the hollowness in the GOP itself. This is from an article called Decline and Fall by David Remnick that appeared in the New Yorker in the middle of November last year. As for integrity, let's just say this. The Karl Rovians, the bankers, and the rest have proven they have none. The GOP claims to uphold the Constitution while advocating positions that are in direct violation of the Constitution. The GOP says they advocate for personal liberty, except when they want to legislate every aspect of your personal life. The GOP talks about honesty and fairness and openness in government, while sitting at the feed trough and getting fat off of banker bailouts with everybody else. So, where does that leave us? Well, the GOP are trying to rerun the 2008 election. What that means is in 2008, George Bush Jr. had so screwed the pig that there was no way a Republican was going to win the election. So they put up Patriot Act author John McCain, a real patriot, that guy. Yeah, he loves the Constitution so much. Probably should be put in front of a court somewhere and tried, but that'll never happen. So, he fails, and Barack Obama wins by a landslide, because the GOP knew they weren't going to win. Now, Barack Obama's in, times have been bad, we've had the economic crash, and they think, well, we can blame all of this on Obama, and we'll do the same thing to him that happened to us in 2008. We can run anyone and get elected. No, Mitt, you can't. And if the GOP had actually cared about the United States, or cared about the outcome of the election, or cared about us, he would not be the candidate. So, you rig an election because the elites who have the money behind the scenes know what's best for everyone else, and then you find out something. All these people aren't falling in line to follow what you want. They're not taking your instructions. There was this big push that we all have to pull together now because we have a candidate and he's the one we have to use to get rid of Barack Obama. No, we don't. If you put up a candidate like Mitt Romney, you fail. Maybe you should have listened to the first time. So, what are conservative and pro-liberty and libertarians and other free Americans supposed to do about something like this? Well, you can vote for a third-party candidate, like Ron Paul or Gary Johnson, or you can not vote at all, which some Christian friends of mine were telling me last night, because in good conscience they can't vote for any of them, or you can vote for the opposition, and that's what I'm doing, because Things for the conservative movement, the pro-liberty movement, the libertarian movement in America will not change as long as the GOP exists. Let me say it again. Things will not change in America for anyone who advocates for personal liberty until the GOP is extinct. Take your Karl Rovian trash and dump it. You're done. Now, my message has been getting out there. This past week, we had reports. The single biggest bunch of people switching their votes to Obama are middle-aged white males and former McCain voters. I didn't vote for McCain. Didn't like him. Knew he was no good. Didn't vote for him. Didn't vote for Barack Obama either. You see, if you have candidates that are unfit, you don't support them. That's a moral decision. Meanwhile, when you say this, people go on about, well, the earth will end and America will be gone and all these other things will happen if Barack Obama gets reelected. Yeah, the same media sites who have been telling you this for the past 3 years were saying the same things about the last couple of Democratic incumbents that were in office 20, 30 years ago. Last time I looked, America's still here. Back away from the Kool-Aid and get a brain. I have come out in public for the last 2 years and told you, you are being manipulated. The GOP right now is blatantly attempting to manipulate you into supporting a fraudulent candidate because the bankers and the money people want him. You gonna go vote for him? Be my guest. Obama's still leading. You like those wars? How's the wars going for you? You got a job this year? How about your kids? Don't worry. If Mitt Romney gets elected, your kid will have a job. It'll involve carrying an M4 up and down the hills in Iran and, probably getting your son or daughter blown to bits on an IED. But hey, it'll be a job. Meanwhile, we complain about the 10% of the budget that's been taken out, as far as the national debt's concerned, for social programs and everything else, while 90% of the debt was bailing out corporate welfare and banks. So, Mr. Banker, the biggest welfare recipient on earth and in American history, where's our money? A vote for the GOP is a vote for the enemy of the United States, the enemies of the Constitution, and the enemies of personal liberty. Thank you.